Welcome to an episode, of course, of Opinionated with yours truly. I am Resla. I hope that you guys are actually having a good day today. Today, we're going to be having an episode that's really something in the forefront that I believe that a lot of people go through in a lot of different ways when it comes to everyday living. And it's the concept of getting older, how we view it, how many cultures see it in so many different ways. And what exactly does it look like for people who are experiencing these kind of things? That think the same way how we all are going to experience it as we get older. Some more than others, as we know, some people leave a little bit early off this planet. Others manage to have a really long amount of quantity of years, but exactly how does that translate to quality of experience while you're here on this planet? And that's some of the things that I want to go through for today. So take a bit of a ride with me on it as I try to break this down as best as I can. When it comes to the concept of getting age, where we tackle the idea of this whole profound social aspect of how people see aging, why are people so terrified when it comes to getting older? What is it about aging that makes us become a little closed off and even dare say shudder? Why do we avoid either two things? Why do we avoid mirrors or even stare profusely at them based on how we look at ourselves, how we judge ourselves from how we used to be, how we used to look versus how we look now? We all know that age comes with a bit of being alive. For all things that are created also must perish. All concepts that are created eventually will become overrated. But some people even take drastic measures to try to prevent time. All the stuff around the growing older concept. And what exactly does that mean when it comes to our quote beauty standards? What about when it comes to career? Some people might be thinking he's gonna do an aging talk. He's probably gonna start bashing people who are old or start going after people who are young. But that's not what this conversation is about. This isn't going to be about aging gracefully, or rather, it's a lecture about that. I just want to be digging into a little bit of a conversation when it's tuned into the idea of aging and kind of getting into that kind of villain in our society. I guess I want to start by acknowledging something that a lot of people won't really say out loud. We all fear aging, but it's true. It's not just the gray hairs, it's not just the wrinkles that we start seeing a little bit over time. But what about the concept of feeling invisible? Think about it. In our particular culture, especially for those, let me just say it because I get people to watch all over, for people who are in the West, youth is the thing that is prized. The younger looking, the younger you are, the more value you seem to have. While in everyday ads, in movies, we're bombarded with this idea of staying youthful. Staying young is equal to staying relevant. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you saw someone over 60 in a major beauty, say, campaign? How about the lead of a great movie, someone who's over 60? It's almost like society wants older people to just straight up disappear. They want these people to just fade into the background. They want the same thing that they push onto other people to eventually happen to them because they too will one day get older. And it's no wonder when you have people treat people like that, why people fear aging. It feels like this erasing of identity. And this fear, it's big, even when it comes to business. Businesses are a big thing about it. Well, let's look at the skincare agency, or let me just put the anti-aging agency. When it comes to age, people who are older get ignored. When you're older, younger people tend not to listen to you. So is it really better? Is it better in business? How many people that you say in our sports agencies are playing well into their 60s? There's a youth bar, even when it comes to sports. There's a youth bar when it comes to business. And speaking of the businesses, especially those big businesses, let's talk about like basically like the skincare age, freaking industries, or industries in law, or industries in freaking retail or whatever. Some of these places are worth billions. When I think of people trying to stay young, I think about the people who are using fillers, they're using Botox, they're using creams that promise that they will turn back the clock. And all these just basically feed into the fear that we all know, we all talked about at some point in time. We all know that taking these things, taking these serums, these medicine, these creams, they never stop you from actually aging. All they do is mask by making us feel like we're holding on to you just a little bit longer. Let's be real about it. The moment you stop taking your treatments, Botox, skin creams, whatever, time catches up to you fast. And the industries all know this. They all know this, and yet people still try to hold on to as much as they can because these companies are banking on our insecurities. And we pay up because deep down, we believe that aging is somehow making us less visible. And it's a nasty, vicious cycle. But I think the thing that's really sad is that this obsession with staying young keeps us trapped, but it also keeps us from appreciating the beauty of getting older. We forget that age comes with, yes, as you're saying, some things, John, or even as you said, Ruck, it comes with wisdom, it comes with experience, it comes with a sense of self. And you can't buy that with a jar or a needle. But nothing ever stops you from trying to make you feel like you're obsolete when you get older. Let's just talk about the workplace, right? We talk about this when it comes to beauty, right? But when it comes to careers, ageism doesn't stop people. It doesn't stop at the looks because it seeps into our personal lives and our professional lives as well. I can't say for all you, especially if you work by yourself. But if you ever work in a group or in a major company where multiple decisions and multiple perspectives need to be thought up on, how many of you have felt like you were being pushed out of a job just because you weren't the youngest person in the room anymore? I can tell you from speaking to people how many said that they came into a job when they were young-eyed, bushy-tailed, maybe they started in their teens and they still stayed at that company. Maybe some people said they started in their early 20s and here they are at the great old age of 50 and 40. And they say that their ideals and their thoughts and their experiences are not taken with a degree of seriousness. Not because they don't have any experience, but it seems like the youth just seem to ignore them, or people within industries just tend to want to hear out the youth more. And once you hit a certain age, let's just say 50 or even 40 in some industries, you start hearing things like, we're looking for fresh energy. You might not be a culture fit anymore. And what this really means is you're too old for us. It's like once you reach a certain age, people assume that you're lost. You lost your creativity, you lost your experience, you lost your drive, you lost your ambition, or that you even lost your ability to learn new things. And that's crazy. And don't even get me started on women and aging in the workplace. I've seen it when it comes to you ladies as well. As a double-edged sword where they were expected to maintain both their youth, but also all the other things that equate to aging without losing their femininity or their sex appeal. And that affects their career prospects too. It's ridiculous. I've seen it happen in real time. I've heard how people really talk behind closed doors. And when I think about this and how we treat people here in the West, I then start thinking about other cultures, how different cultures see freaking age. Because not every culture is obsessed with youth. In many Eastern countries, for example, aging is seen as a sign of wisdom and respect. The older you get, the more revered you are. Elders are consulted on the importance of family dynamics, family decisions. They're respected in their communities. Compared to the West, I mean, let's be honest, we don't really value older people in that way. We don't. So what is it about our Western culture that makes us so afraid when it comes to aging? Is it because like we're just tied so much to our worth, our productivity? Or is it because somehow we glorify independence to the point where basically needing help is seen as a weakness? Because I think in other places, aging means becoming more connected to your communities, more connected to your family. You become more connected to the social circles that you've built over time. Here, it feels like isolation is the reward for getting older. The older you get, the more isolated you become. The more older you get, the less relevant you become. But that's my thoughts on it. What are you guys thinking about when it comes to the idea of people getting older and how it affects everyone? Because it's going to affect all of us as we get older. I mean, if you live or you've lived in a different if you lived in different cultures, or you have like a mixed family background, I'm wondering, how do people in your family or how the people that you know in your lives view age? Give me an idea what you're thinking, whether it's in the chat or if you're catching us on the replay, drop it in the comment. But I do have to ask another thing because I'm thinking about it right now. Is the fear of aging the simple fact that we're just fearing mortality? I think lots of people have this fear around age because, let's be honest, as we get grays, as we get wrinkles, at its core, it's a fear of just being mortal. It's a fear of our mortality because aging reminds us that we're not going to be around forever. And to some people, that's a very scary concept. And here's a question: is it possible that embracing age might actually help us come to terms with our actual mortality? Instead of basically trying to say that we're going to fight it, maybe we should actually be celebrating the fact that we've lived long enough to experience life in all of its complexities. And let's just be honest, the longer that you've come to experience life, you can always turn around, take a look, and think of your news, think of the papers, think of people in your friends and family who did not make it to live as long as you have. But for some people who want to go through it, it's like the more we try to deny aging, the more we resist the natural process of life itself. And that resistance is exhausting. What if people learn to just let go? Just a little bit, and stop trying to freeze ourselves in time and instead embrace growth, embrace the change, the evolution of the years that come with age. I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but maybe age isn't the enemy. Maybe, just maybe, it's a gift. All right, but that's enough for me. It's enough for me being on my bit of my soapbox. To as I was really thinking about this, I'm gonna open it up for you guys. So before we wrap things up today, I want to leave you guys with at least one thought, and the idea is that aging isn't something that we need to fear. Um, it's something that I think we need to really turn around and embrace, just wholeheartedly. Now, it's proof that you live and you love and you learn. But at the end of the day, isn't that isn't that what life all about? Isn't it about choices, trade-off, and of course the people that we share an experience with while we're here, while we have the time? Isn't that the most important thing? The experiences that we have. And I know some people just don't want to be a burden, especially when we start talking about end of life. You know, for the family and the friends and the communities that also have to quote look after us. If you make it that far, because the truth of the matter is that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is. And if that is the case, I would like you guys to spend your time just being grateful of where you are right now, not necessarily where you've been or how you think that other people should experience what you're doing now. I think you should really take the opportunity to enjoy and love life the way you have it now. That's gonna be my particular thoughts. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I appreciate you guys for, of course, coming in. And until then, guys, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this kind of content with people that you think that can really use these type of tools and actually conversations to become a little bit more enlightened. I will catch you on the next one. And of course, guys, stay opinionated. Later, y'all.